What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kicked Out at 2 Dynamite review. This is your boy Quags hanging out, chilling with Chris. What's going on, Chris?
Oh, not much. How's it going, Quags?
Yeah, we were just catching up. I just drove by you in Stamford, Connecticut, home of the other place, quote
Yes.
unquote. I'm in a different location tonight. You might see some different art behind me.
Right.
Recording from my living room due to circumstances I can't reveal on the pod.
Yeah.
Very secret. But yeah, and
Good time.
coming
Good
in.
time.
Yeah, and Dynamite is on Fridays now for a while because of the NBA playoffs. So, all right,
Yeah,
we'll deal with it.
Yeah, it's been throwing me off. I'm actually in Jersey right now. I know you're passing by in Stamford, like in the headquarters. So like this is like the living room area, like in Jersey, my hometown area, which is pretty cool. But also, yeah, honestly, like these Friday nights are kind of really throwing me off. Like Wednesday nights were like I didn't know how perfect they were until.
Well, it's so funny because the Bachelorette came back, and my wife watches the Bachelorette, so we were watching that, and I watch it too. I won't say that,
Right,
just she
right.
watches it. So that came back, and then after it was over, I would usually go to Raw.
Mhm.
But I was like, oh, I'll watch Dynamite. I hadn't watched Dynamite yet, so I actually watched it Monday night from 10 to midnight. So
Nice.
I don't know. So yeah, so it was June 4th at Daly's Place. Although again, getting ready to venture out pretty soon. But Daly's Place, was this the first Dynamite where it was full?
I think they had when we did our like double or nothing review,
Hmm.
that Dynamite on Friday before it was a full like stacked house.
Okay, got it. Okay. So yeah, so that was interesting to see on in a Dynamite environment.
Yes.
Um, Although I feel like the crowd was a little bit weird. I don't think they were super hot. Um, which I mean, I cannot wait to go to wrestling again. I'm just gonna be
Yeah.
like on 10 the whole time. So whatever. But cool. So the show kicked off with Penta and Pac against the Young Bucks.
Hmm.
Little yeah, Death Triangle action. And they had attacked Ray Phoenix backstage, but they said they won't show it on Dynamite. You can watch it on BT or whatever. By the way, I did want to say I'm looking at my notes. I don't have two monitors like I usually do, so please excuse me, YouTube viewers, as I look at my phone here. So yeah,
No
good
problem. No
match,
problem.
and then ended with interference from the young boy, Brandon Cutler, who went and hit Penta. So the Young Bucks won, and then oh no, he hit. I'm sorry, he hit
And
Pac
with that
on the
B,
ropes.
yeah, and with that like BT camera because they're always like into like
Yeah.
filming their stuff, whatever. Which I'll get into how they actually roped it into their BT video is actually pretty funny.
Oh, I didn't see it. I should watch that
Yeah.
after this. And then they went to go do a bunch of BTE triggers to Penta, like they did to John Moxley, who's out now finally on his paternity leave.
Yeah.
Um,
About time.
but Eddie Kingston ran out, and Eddie Kingston saved the day.
Yep.
I'll start. I thought commentary was great here. I did think this started. Anytime you get Don Callis on there, I just feel like he does such a great job, and I
Yeah,
love calling
absolutely.
Brandon Cutler the young boy. Like he's not like he's just they're flunky. He's their hype man or whatever. Hilarious. Oh, I like Frankie Kazarian coming in and being the elite hunter that he keeps showing up in different places. I like that. I feel like this match had a real hangover element to it at the
Yeah.
beginning. I don't know, maybe that was just me, but
Felt like a
um
fun indie match. That's how I kind of took it as.
yeah, like we just saw this pay-per-view where the Bucks put on obviously like another phenomenal tag match. This wasn't for the titles, right? This is just like a match.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
They were clearing out some some story, and it makes sense why they had it. But man, it took me like halfway through to care about it, I would say. And then once I did, okay, like I got into it, and it was a good. I thought
Yeah.
they're such good performers. It's incredible. So that was great, but yeah, definitely a little bit of a like a pay-per-view hangover element going on here.
Yeah. I think I got that vibe from like kind of like the audience too and stuff, but it's still like a fun match. You might like the
Hmm.
Kazarian thing more than me. Like I do like the idea of the elite hunter, but it just still doesn't make sense to me that it's just Kazarian against the whole group. Like
Well, it's also weird that he attacked Michael Nakazawa. Like,
yeah, the first goon of the squad or whatever.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
just like weird to me, but like, I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Like, I'm not gonna just like completely like kibosh on it for now, but it's just like one guy going against like the so-called elite. They're the champs or whatever. Like, it just kind of doesn't make
Mhm.
too much sense to me unless he gets like a group going, or maybe this will just go 1-by-1 status. We'll see. As to like
Mhm.
Kingston kind of coming in, and then I like the announcers did a good job of like kind of explaining, because it wouldn't make sense, right? Kingston, when he was a heel, would feud with
Mhm.
Pac and then really was into like the Lucha Brothers and stuff like that. So I'm glad the announcers didn't make us feel
They,
silly about it.
yeah, jumping ahead, they tied that in really well
Yeah.
later when they had his interview, but they really made it an interruption. But it was fine. They did a good job of that. I thought that was actually like really like well done in the long
Yeah.
run.
Yeah, it's that's what basically it is, just like good storytelling to a point of like, okay, let's just have this guy run in, because then I'm just like, well, you guys were feuding like months ago and you made it sound really personal. Now you guys don't care. Like, it's silly. But
Yeah.
that's the opposite of what they did. And like the funny, like the branded color, they keep calling him Young Boy, and he looks ridiculous. His face mask is like colored sweatsuit. It's good. That's
Oh
good TV
gosh,
funny stuff. But like
they're they're
what was that?
crushing that. It's
Yeah.
so funny. Yeah, I actually think like yeah, it's the leaning into the corniness of it all is just like working. It's just
Right.
working.
Because he knows he's a corny guy. Like, we're honest. Like, he's a really nice guy, but we all know he's a corny guy. And like when I was
Yeah.
watching like their BT video or whatever, they tied it in. It was pretty funny. Like, they'll break the fourth wall a little bit here and there, but they'll just like kind of push it as in like, hey, we're gonna need you to cheat for us. And he's like, oh, but I don't like to cheat. And then they're just like looking at him as in like, we don't care. You have to cheat. And then like it showed the point of view of the camera that he hit like Pac with, and he's like saying, I'm sorry while he's hitting him. And I'm like, that's so dweeby, but it ties
That's
in well.
great.
I mean, but like, yeah, that's BT stuff. They do all like a lot of YouTube stuff that they only show on YouTube. So just know it's
Yeah,
no big deal. But this was a fun way. Like you said, Dynamite always knows how to kick it off well.
they really do. Yeah, and there wasn't a ton of wrestling on this show, so I mean, the next match is like not for a while. So, anyway, so then Mark Henry came out, um, basically said he was here, and then teased that he might return to the ring. He's got a lot left in the tank.
Yep. It's just
Okay.
all right. That was just like a very like he could have easily just like sent it out sent it out in an email.
He could have CC'd us,
See,
Mark,
yeah.
even.
But it's just
Um,
like, oh, okay. And then he kind of just like stopped, and then like that's his saying. Like, I got a lot left in the tank when they had that big like fake out retirement speech with John Cena or whatever. But
right.
like after that, I was just like, what was the point of all this or whatever? And then like coming
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so next was a very exciting thing actually, but I thought really poorly done. Andrade is all elite, thanks to Vicky Guerrero announced him. Um, I said there's no music. It wasn't totally clear what she was saying at first. He came out, he's okay. Like it's fine. You don't have to like, deliver a promo in English. I know that's like whatever. Like,
Yeah.
um, this was a big announcement that I feel like they like swung and missed on. And I know we were
Yeah.
texting about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like he looked bad, like he looked like a bad dude for sure. Like I love the suit and him having it in scrap, but it's like they
Yeah.
didn't zoom in on that.
No.
I don't know, I felt like
A
and no
little bit.
music was so weird. No music, no video package, like he just walked out. It was like, did this get decided 15 minutes before the show started? That
It
was how I
very
felt.
yeah, very well could have been. Like, they could have just signed him and they just said like, okay, we need like, because like also these Fridays are kind of awkward where they're still
Hmm.
trying to retain viewers, because like it is weird not being on Wednesday where they get their million viewer following. And now these NBA playoffs are happening, and now they got to kind of scramble on Fridays, which they signed up for. They knew that was going to happen. So they might have just like got the deal done and were like, all right, before you choose your music, before you do everything, hey, we'll get you on Dynamite now, just announce that you're there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I kind of fell flat a little bit, but I think AEW does great. They do super well in pairings. I think Vicky Guerrero with Andrade, that's a
Yeah,
very good pairing. He always does well when he has a mouthpiece, when it's in
I
early
agree with that.
NXT days. And then
I,
when
I
they
agree with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and when they took away his mouthpiece, I'm like, well, now he's just a serviceable guy in the ring, which who isn't at this point? Like everyone's very good.
Mhm.
So if he goes back to like what Eric was like texting us or whatever, like his New Japan days, like they didn't go like his group or whatever. Honestly,
Ungovernable,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I
he
remember
was fun to
loving.
watch. He's like all like kind of like very characteristic, like
uh,
all that stuff. Like I think he could be a very good, especially in the Latin market where they're shooting for every type of different markets we're talking about anywhere. Honestly, I think he could do very well if they keep this like kind of like pairing alive.
Well, to me, I think this is just another sign that we're going to get a really fun story where Kenny loses all the belts, and maybe Andrade takes one or two off of him,
Maybe.
because it's like they have their thing in August, I think, for AAA.
Mhm.
I think I could definitely see him at least winning that. I mean, and then maybe you have the AAA belt shows up on AEW, but on Andrade.
Just add
So I
another
don't know. I don't
belt.
want to get yeah. I don't another prop, right? No,
Yep.
I don't want to get too. I don't want to get too far ahead of things, but
Right.
yeah, it was good.
We'll
I
see.
am glad he was there. When I think we were texting and I was kind of like not super high on it, but
Oh,
after
you weren't a
seeing it,
big Andrade fan on it. I was actually
yeah,
surprised.
after seeing it, and I mean, it does feel right. And I think Vicky Guerrero being the mouthpiece makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's see what happens. All
Yep.
right. So then we had some wrestling again, in Cody Rhodes and your favorite wrestler, Lee Johnson,
Nice.
against Anthony Agogo, Anthony Agogo and QT Marshall. All right, so went back and forth. We'll get into it, but basically ended with when Aaron Solo came out, distracted the ref. Agogo punched Cody when he was about to get QT down. QT pinned him, then went on about how he does it all himself. He's the best. He deserves everything he gets. Yelled at Tony Schiavone. Okay. Yeah. You go first, please.
Well, as soon as I saw Big Shotty, we all know who's taking the fall in this one. So it's just like, all right, we know exactly what's gonna happen. I thought this was a decent match, to be honest. It was okay. Like it accentuated the new guys and then it put over like who honestly finally Factory won like their group
Mm-hmm.
because now like you had this big feud with a go-go. Previously it was QT. It's just like at this point, like they know if you guys keep losing, you're just gonna lose steam, and then everyone's just not gonna care what you're
Right.
doing.
Well, it
So
makes sense. It makes sense that they won. Absolutely.
yeah, because at this point, like, what does Cody gain from constantly winning? And like they're not even pinning, like, you know what I mean? But I laughed
Yeah.
because it was
Oh, I know.
I laughed because like I looked, I was like, oh, it's Big Shot, he's gonna take the fall, and then it was actually Cody who took the fall on this one. I was just like, all right, well, that's different. I will say
Twist.
I was wrong, and that's okay. But at this point, it was good that like I actually like that QT gloated so much after because like it was just tough at the beginning of this group. I was flacking on them a lot. I was just like, they're
Hmm.
bland. I don't care about any of these guys really. Like, obviously, that guy's big. That guy looks like a star. And then the rest, I was like, all right, whatever. Now, like, I see a little bit more character out of QT, a little bit more and more like kind of like emphasis of what he wants and what he's doing.
So it's interesting because my mind immediately went to, okay, how long is a go-go gonna let him say, I won, I'm the like, the
Right.
champ or whatever it is, like the biggest deal. Um, and I thought that was really cool. The idea that or a good potential. The actual happening I thought was kind of okay, like whatever.
Yeah. It was
You know,
just a filler
but
match.
right, but thinking about where it could go and the fact that Agogo could get pissed at him, turn on him, do his own thing. I think is good. Uh, yeah, it was the match itself was fine. Um, I do love seeing the RKO slash diamond cutter or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. Seems like QT really has that one down in
Down
his
pat.
wrestling coaching school. Uh, and I just want to say, it felt like some of the stuff like I think there were mistakes on the flow or whatever because the camera wasn't in the right place like multiple times. So I actually don't think that was production. I think that was Agogo and Lee Johnson, you know, just
Not
not
knowing,
knowing the
yeah, not knowing the
sequence
like the hard cam is and stuff like that, which they
and
learned. They're new guys.
Right. And maybe specifically a go-go, because there was this whole thing where a go-go and him went at it outside the ring. And it was just not on camera at all. And
Yeah.
then they did it again. And so I think they were like, oh crap, like that was we weren't supposed to do that then.
Right.
But
Right.
anyway, just interesting. Like I know it's a little bit inside baseball, but
Yeah.
some of these dudes are green. They need some work, but that's okay.
That's
All
all
good.
good.
All right, so then we had the Inner Circle coming out in their awesome gear. Man, they have such great gear. And basically, person to person went and called out their opponents in the Pinnacle. Jake Hager wants to fight in a cage fight in the Octagon, even, he said, where he's never lost. Sammy called out the chairman, Sean Spears. And then Jericho said he is going to beat MJF, but he didn't really say like exactly what that entails, which I thought was funny. Yeah, I like this a lot. I mean, like, I'm glad that this is still going. Glad that Inner Circle and Pinnacle is like maybe going to break off into individual matches. Like, it would be fun to imagine a best of 5 series or something where it comes
Yeah,
down,
that's interesting.
and it comes down to obviously Jericho versus MJF. Or maybe it comes down to Sammy versus Sean Spears.
Yeah.
You could switch it up. So yeah, I think there's a lot of good, man, that could be a whole pay-per-view. There's a lot of good opportunity here, and I really like how they're letting all the guys talk. Like, yes, there are clear leaders in the group, but everybody seems to be a key part of it, which has been really awesome.
Yeah, that's huge. Because honestly, if it was like kind of in any other like in the other company or whatever, it's just going to be between 2 guys, and then the other guys are just fillers. So that's basically it. So I'm glad that it's accentuating like everyone else. I'm actually excited now that we're finally getting, like, we talked about this as soon as this feud happened, like, like FTR versus Santana Ortiz, like those are going to be great matches. And like, I'm honestly more excited now for like Sammy Guevara watching. And like, I know we're not all the biggest Sean Spears fans, but he's coming into his own. And then like always,
I think that's just Sharb. I think we're shout out to Sharb on your secret mission.
Yes.
Back soon. I think Sharb might be back, not next podcast, but the podcast.
Yeah,
after.
be back soon. Stay tuned. He'll be back soon. He'll tell you why he hates. Yeah.
Why Sean Spears sucks, but we like him, so okay.
We'll get in it now before he could rebuttal.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, so we're excited for that match. Like, I'm excited to see Sammy Guevara. Always like 2 big dudes fighting, Wardlow and Jake Hager. And we've been waiting for this MJF versus Jericho like match for a while. They had their first match where it was MJF won, and that was completely different circumstances where they were trying to get in the Inner Circle, and then all that, and then this kind of ignited this whole feud. So it would be cool. Maybe they'll do like a special Dynamite show when they're going against each other. It's just nice. Like, it's weird because I thought this was going to be like the reverse. Like, they're going to have their singles matches together, and then they're going to go fight it off, and then they'll had their stadium stampede and then finish off at Blood and Guts. But it seems like the exact opposite's happening. Whoops, got too excited. And then basically Blood and Guts happen, stadium stampede, and now we're gonna get these singles matches going on. And like, which is good because like at this point you don't want to oversaturate every single like thing. Like, as in after these singles matches are going against each other, like what else like can you do? Because now you're not really disbanding. I don't really like when they disband groups. If they want to keep continuing, they could just go against each other, and then you're like, you know what? We're gonna hate each other for the rest of our time, but we're going our different ways right now, and I'm okay with that. Sometimes it just doesn't need to have like this giant like thing or whatever. If they have their big singles match, one guy loses, one guy wins, and then they go off and do another thing. I think AEW does that pretty well. Also, they gave so many free T-shirts. Imagine being there and then they're like, "We got you free T-shirts," and it's just underneath their shirt, the chair. I mean, I'm just like, that's a lot of shirts.
Yeah, that is funny. Yeah, their gear is so sick. I think the Inner Circle gear is just awesome. And it is funny. I mean, like them as faces, because they're very hateable, but at the same time they're very likable. I don't know. They're just good pro wrestlers.
Yeah.
The way that they do this. Cool. All right. So then we had Orange Cassidy and Best Friends cutting a promo on Kenny. And did Orange talk at all? Or was it only Best Friends that were talking?
He talked very briefly. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
Very briefly. Classic, like Orange fashion.
Yeah. absolutely. And then that went into Kenny, who was looking at the tape, trying to uncover a conspiracy theory. And then I loved when he goes, there's a big difference between a jungle boy and a jungle man and a jungle man and a jungle champion. I'm glad to see that the orange stuff isn't over with Kenny.
Yeah, no, that's what I took it like that's how I took it as in like, yeah, he barely said anything, but there seems like they're starting a program with him, and I was just like, oh, okay, they're really pushing him. I was like, it was pretty cool. And like the Omega stuff, like the conspiracy, I hope they don't copy so much, because that was like the whole Sami Zayn conspiracy
Yeah.
constantly a lot. But Sami Zayn took it to like a whole nother level where he was coming off very funny, but like also like erotic and almost. But I do like how they they were making fun of Jungle Boy's music. They're just
Yeah.
like mocking it. I'm like, it's so annoying, but it's like funny. But yeah, the Jungle Man and then Jungle Champion. I think Kenny Omega's doing pretty hilarious stuff, like when he's just like doing off the cuff, like weird like antics, when it's like tamed, not like to the point of like, all right, we have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, I think this character is like forming more, and kind of he figured it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Jungle Boy wrestle Kenny. That should be really fun. I hope it like, yeah, I don't know. I like this whole
It'll be like
thing.
it's on that like special Saturday. Now, this is weird, kind of with like Dynamite, but it's on that special Saturday night Dynamite or whatever they said. So it's kind of weird that like they're getting used to not doing it Wednesday. Hopefully, then maybe that, like, obviously when the playoffs all that concludes it, we'll go back to it shortly.
Sorry, just heard something weird in my house.
No problem.
All good. Yeah. Right. Yeah, they'll be back to Wednesday, but well, and now we're gonna have Rampage anyway on Fridays. So unclear exactly what the and that's in August. Unclear how the storylines are gonna intersect, but anyway.
I think I've read an interview about Rampage, and like this kind of not bummed me out, but kind of I knew what was coming. Was kind of like Rampage will be a show where like to get people on TV. So I'm kind of already feeling that's going to be gearing as like a B show, which is fine.
Yeah.
Friday at 10 is also awkward for like us to watch. Honestly, I catch the replays because like it's just awkward to watch at that time.
I feel like we're gonna stay at Dynamite review. I'm not trying to watch, no offense, like 10 to 11 on Friday. Watch wrestling. I don't think that would fly in my household until we start getting paid. So like and subscribe.
Yeah,
and
we'll do a review for you.
Yeah, we'll start a Patreon, and we'll do it if we get whatever $30 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope they do. I hope they do an orange program with Kenny too.
Me too.
Like a proper. I think that'd be great.
Yes.
Which is so cool how people, sorry, just before we move on, but like people that work with Orange seem to like doing it. Like Pac, we talk about all the time,
right?
Seems to really like working with Orange Cassidy, which is awesome. I
mean, because like he moves on with his shtick. It's just not the same thing over and over again. I kind of like how they give you a guessing game now. It's like, oh, is it gonna be late? Is it gonna be lazy, or is it gonna go like all out, whatever?
Yeah. And
keep pushing. Let's go.
I just remember him in an interview, and they were like, "How does it feel like to have this gimmick make it?" And everybody that told you it was stupid, and he was like, "Yeah, it feels really good. It feels really good." And I agree, it's so awesome. But
yeah, just sticking it. That's good.
Yeah. All right, then we had Jungle Boy and Christian Cage against Private Party. They did actually a decent job of showing how this came to be. But so it ended with sorry, just skipping ahead here. Like I said, on the phone, a little more difficult. So Private Party was gonna hit Gin and Juice on Jungle Boy, but Christian took out part of that, and Jungle Boy was able to kind of reverse and work out of the move and lock one of the Private Party guys into the snare trap, and so he tapped out.
Jungle Boy is very over. That is very
so over.
Like
over,
I thought,
like Rover.
Yes, honestly, like I was thinking about like, oh, it was like a pay-per-view, everyone's back. Oh, like obviously he's over, but I was just like, okay, maybe people will get used to his music, whatever. And then as soon as it comes out, like literally, like you just hear like people even see like on like the big screen of like when he comes out, everyone I could just see elated, like getting out of their seats. I'm like, okay, everyone is dying to see Jungle Boy, and he's very fun to watch. I was actually talking to my brother about it. He hates it that he's so tiny, but like I look at it as like, yeah, but like that's his thing, is Jungle Boy. Like, but I'm imagining he'll get bigger, like as in like when he gets older, because he's still young. He's a young dude. But strike while the iron's hot at this point. Like honestly, I thought it was a good competitive match, and
it was fun. Private Party,
they're good. I forgot like how good.
They're
Like remember
good.
they were baby faces. They were fun, energetic watch. So it was like kind of nice seeing that again.
I think their gear needs to go back to like an elevated version of what it was, like over the top, like party guys instead of like this, which was like slick party guys.
Yeah. You know? Also, like this whole AHFO thing, like when has really Private Party really been elevated? It's the Matt Hardy show at that point, and like that's what I was a little worried about a little bit. As in, like it's just Matt Hardy. Like he attacked Christian after they lost the match, and now we're gonna see. To be honest, like I really like Christian. I was excited when he came in and stuff, but like now we're gonna get a Matt Hardy versus Christian like match, and now they're gonna make that feel like a big, like, oh, this is gonna be a big match, and I'm like, it's not. It's not.
I
don't care.
I don't hate it, but Matt Hardy can't really go. Christian can wrestle so good. Like he looked so good in this. He's looked so good. I don't really care. Like, I don't think even like the segment of people that like, they always talk about, well, that sells tickets. I don't think this would really sell tickets even because Matt Hardy and Christian are like not top. It's not like
we've seen it for years.
The top billing. Yeah.
It's not like 2001. Like it's just like we've seen it so many times, and it's just like I expected these guys to elevate younger guys, which that's exactly what Christian did. And then he elevated Jungle Boy. Matt Hardy, not trying to crap all over him, but like he has like 5 or 6 different people in his like
and then,
HFO thing.
And then he didn't come out for Bunny, and they were like, oh, he's avoiding Christian. And then it's kind of like, okay, like why are we doing this? Like let's just get rid of it. He's not adding anything. I think
that's the problem. That's the problem. I don't think
it's not anything. It's not additive, and it's not really interesting. It exists like maybe just for BTE skits or something. I don't know. So I'm over it. I hope they get rid of it because like watching Private Party, I was like, oh, I really like Private Party. I don't want them to be in the Hardy family office. And their whole thing where it's like, oh my God, is that Private Party? That's so good. That's funny. I mean, it reminds me of like the Acclaimed, where it's like, okay, now you have like a thing to pop for when you come out.
Yes.
Right. Like I know the Acclaimed can wrestle. I care so much more about what Max Caster is going to rap about.
Oh yeah. That's all
Which
I care
is
about.
Fine.
Which is fine. Everyone has like their thing. But it's like, I kind of miss Private Party. Honestly, like when they first started AEW, Private Party was kind of one of the main like new like hot things coming out.
They beat the Young Bucks, remember?
Oh yeah, that was a big thing. And it was like such a and then like I don't know. It's just like if we can't push everyone, I get it. Like have tag teams going in and out. Like I watched the whole BTE thing, and I actually liked that they joked about how like Private Party was upset. They're like, we lost to 2 single guys that were together. That's embarrassing. And I'm like, at least they're pushing that, as in like, okay, tag teams should be beating teams that like aren't teaming together. So that was like good. But obviously, Jungle Boy's not losing anytime soon. So
no.
I don't know, this Hardy family office thing. And then now I'm like, all right, man, Hardy attack Christian. And I'm like, I hope it's just like a random Dynamite match, and then they just go separate ways. To be honest, this hopefully is not like a pay-per-view thing, because I don't care.
No, I hope he turns into not demented Matt Hardy, broken.
No, the broken. Yeah, well, because he got fans in now, so hopefully maybe like he's not big money Matt. He'll go broke and then broken into that character or whatever. Like I don't know. That's just me thinking about it.
Look at you. You're writing.
Yeah, that's a minute in. So just get rid of this HFO thing. It's not adding anything. Like, just do that.
Yeah. I'm totally with you.
Yes.
All right. Then we had Team Taz. We had Cage and Hobbs will go against Hangman Adam Page and a person from the Dark Order. They're still in turmoil. Clearly, Team Taz is not great.
Yeah.
Okay. Glad that sounds like a fun match though. Brian Cage and Hobbs against Page and Dark Order.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun.
We'll see who it is, but
Cage and Hobbs are gigantic, by the way. Like I saw them
so
like
big.
on a random like dark match or whatever, and they came out together. I was like, wow, these guys are like massive. Like they look like a wall. And I actually kind of like this Hangman Page is not in the Dark Order, but is with the Dark Order. I kind of like this like shtick of like, oh, okay, I'm hanging out with them. Like, oh, you want to be part of our group? No, I'm not part of your group, but I'll hang out with you guys. Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
Let's not like it's like a weird relationship. Like, no, we don't need to put a label on it. It's fine. Like, it's just weird like that.
Yeah. I don't want a DTR. I don't want to define the relationship. All right, cool. Then we had Sting and Darby. And obviously they were interrupted by All Ego Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, who said that Darby is codependent and that if he can find anybody else to beat them with, he needs to do that.
Honestly, I'm a big fan of Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. I think they look good in their loss to Sting and Darby, so I'm glad that they had a chance on the mic. And I think this adds good tension. Like, I like that Darby didn't really say anything afterwards because he's kind of like looking at him like, yeah, like he was the loner.
Yeah.
He was like this guy. And then like he's kind of like this whole Sting pairing has been great. It's elevated him, to be honest, but now it adds a little bit different dimension and a little bit more tension in that sense.
Yeah, it's good. I wonder though, I mean, they're selling that shirt. How much longer? They got to keep them together for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but
we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, we will. No, I mean, like, I liked it too. I thought they were good. I thought the Page and Sky combo at the beginning was a little bit odd, but
yeah,
it's paid off.
Random.
It's paid off.
That definitely has been.
Yeah. Okay, then we had Britt Baker's DMD celebration. She teased that she had burger coupons for everyone, but she didn't. They were just for her. And Nyla Rose came in, ruined the celebration. And Vicky Guerrero walked away with her.
I threw the burgers or something like to the.
They threw the burgers. Yeah,
very odd.
it was odd. I don't know. Like, I don't know that Nyla Rose is the person I want to see Britt Baker wrestle. I mean, it's yeah, but
yeah. To be honest, this felt weird at first. I was just happy she won, but like so she's gonna kick off her reign now. I kind of just want just a classic heel and a classic like baby face going at it. I kind of don't want to deal with like the tweener as in like, oh, should we cheer for her? Should we not cheer for her?
Well, I thought, oh, right, because Nyla is not a heel.
Yeah, but maybe this is her face turn. Maybe that's what she's gonna change into. But then like she's Vicky. It's just there's so many variables. I'm just kind of like couldn't like you just give her someone that is just like face and then just deal that like for the week and then like go into this to build her reign a little bit more because I'm expecting her to have a pretty lengthy title reign because of how long it took her to get where she's at right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought this was good though. I thought the promo was good in that she said, you're all cheering for me now, but you weren't there for me at the beginning.
Yeah, that was good.
That's a good angle to take for her. Yeah, because like, I mean, it's hard when you're supposed to be the heel champion and people are cheering for you. Like, and also, by the way, internally you're amped about that, obviously.
Right. No, yeah.
So, yeah, you got to figure out the way to balance it out. I thought you did a good job. Yeah, the burgers is funny.
The burgers is so odd.
Then we had the Kingston Penta and Pac thing we talked about earlier. So I feel like we don't need to talk about that.
Always go on.
Yeah. Here's all I'll say: the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. Oof. Sweet and simple.
It's good.
Take it.
Then we had Bunny versus Red Velvet, which, oh gosh, I put my note in the wrong place here.
No, don't worry.
Oh, okay. Red Velvet went over clean actually after Bunny tried to use brass knuckles to win.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, my note here was that it was nice to see someone go over clean.
Yep.
Number one. And then number two, I like that I was like, oh, I care about this match, even though it's like has nothing to do with the title. is like, the fourth level down in the women's division, and it just really speaks volumes to how big of an improvement they've made.
Yeah, huge improvement. Huge.
Yeah.
To be funny, like though, like I feel like Bunny has been winning with this loaded fist for like 5 matches in a row. I'm probably exaggerating, but I'm just like in my head, I'm just like, people are coming in here and they're like, oh wait, and then like the announcers say the same thing. They're like, wait, her fist was loaded. It was loaded again. I was just like, how's no one?
She's got the brass knucks. Which I was like, brass knucks.
Yeah.
Like what? That's so weird. Just say brass knuckles. Anyway.
Yeah. And I was just like looking at it. I was just like, how does no one see this coming? And then finally, I was just like, finally someone saw it coming and then won. Of course, it's Red Velvet, our perennial favorite here.
Well, she's straight out of your mama's kitchen, dude.
That will always bother me.
I do like that move. The mixing of the pot.
Up, that's her little dance thing. I'm fine with like them having weird like characteristics like shticks. Like that's fine. The straight out of your mama's kitchen though. I'm just like, I'm over it.
Yeah,
weird.
You're over it.
The match was fine though. They had a really good. There was like a suicide dive at one point where I was just like, wow, she like literally darted into her. I was just like, oh okay, that was pretty intense.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, Red Velvet I think is good, and I think Bunny is good too.
Like you said, she showed very much improvement from when it was floundering. And again, shout out to Sheeta again for being a champ for kind of that whole year and picking up like a lot of flack for the people that couldn't like be that serviceable in the ring. So it's good where they're at now.
Not on her shoulders at all. Like, I'd like to see. I mean, I'll be interested to see when she gets back into whatever picture she works into. Because she deserves that. She deserves like a good run.
Yeah, she does.
All right, cool. Then we had John Silver, who got a TNT title match for his birthday. This dude is so funny. And he decided to give it to Evil Uno. And then Miro must have heard the news instantly and cut a promo back saying, you think you have your right to this, but you don't. First of all, I want to thank God for making me all powerful or whatever. And
he keeps doing that now. It's
so like, funny.
Uncomfortable, but funny.
I mean, they know what this is. They know what they have with it, with Dark Order and with Miro, and they're just really nailing it. So
yeah. Honestly, like the Dark Order promo, I was cracking up. Like John Silver is always funny. But like, who's actually really underrated? And I actually wanted to text you and Eric. This is
10.
10's very good, but 10 is like,
okay.
You're going to push him because he's such a big dude as in like, okay, we need to put this guy in. I've actually been a fan of Evil Uno since like day one. And I myself didn't realize I'm a fan of him. Like until like I started watching like his matches. He's very fun to watch in the ring. Like he's a very kind of like characteristic individual. And I used to text Eric all the time when AEW was starting. I was just like, I was like probably one of like the 2% people that liked Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, even though they were falling flat. I like loved their tag team much. Yeah.
Back in the creepy pervert days.
Yeah.
When people would chant that.
Odd, like just odd.
Well, because they were super over, right? Was it Super Bash Brothers or Super Smash?
Yeah, Super Smash Bros. And like I didn't really know about them.
I didn't know if they changed the name. Yeah.
So then I was just like, okay, they're honestly every time I watch them in the ring, like as a tag team, they're so much fun to watch. I was like, wow, these guys are very good. Then I just watched Evil Uno kind of just singles competitor, and like I very much enjoy like what he does. He has like specific like spots, like sets, move sets, and all that stuff that's just like fits his character, and I really like that. I like how some of these guys like kind of just sometimes I feel like, I'm just gonna do this move because it looks cool and I do this, but sometimes I'd rather than do moves that kind of follows their character. And he does a lot of things where it's just like, okay, that makes sense why he does it. He's a little flamboyant, a little showboaty, a little here and there, but he's also like this creepy Evil Uno guy or whatever. Yeah. I'm actually pretty excited for this match. And then Miro just being a big monster, cuts a great promo again, as in like, okay, he's just gonna just throttle him.
The belt flop was awesome too. Yeah, that was great. Really well done.
Excited for this. Dark Order has came a long way since like their beginning days, where I was actually a little worried when like it was gaining traction and them being funny. And I was like, no one's gonna take them seriously, like no one cares. But now it just seems like, wow, these guys are just fan favorites. Everyone just cheers for them.
And I heard the interview too. I don't think we've talked about it, where they were stuck in Canada. They couldn't get back to the US
Yeah,
to
I
be in the
remember that.
shows.
Mhm.
And so they were like, we need to do something. What are we going to do? And ultimately landed on being funny,
Yeah.
basically, on PT. So it worked out. I mean, it really worked out.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited for that match as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we had Dustin Rhodes versus Nick Camarado in a bull rope match. And at the end, no, just skip ahead. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dustin went. Dustin went over. Basically got him down, which I thought was kind of surprising. I will say this match did look kind of brutal. Like it looked like there was, they were taking some hard hits at different points, and I was into that. Didn't like all the interference. I felt like Aaron Solo, like we already have a pretty cool stipulation, a unique stipulation.
Yeah.
We don't need Aaron Solo like setting tables up and all that stuff. I was a little bit surprised Dustin went over. For the story, that seems like an odd choice.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching the match, but I struggled with how it's gonna fit into everything else. Because if Nick Camarado is supposed to be this big hoss, like scary guy, and Dustin can beat him, I mean, I guess it's a bull rope match, right? Is that what we're supposed to think? Like, oh, but he's great at bull rope matches, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I think he's like coming out of his way of like, yeah, I'm like not gonna lose bull rope matches or whatever. So I'm like, okay, but like, it didn't, like, it's a bull rope match, so you don't need more things to add on to it, as in like let it be, because then it's just like too crazy. But it was fine. I thought,
Mhm.
like the fuego spot on the outside was fun. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Nick Camarado is a very intense individual. Like he is a brick. And I liked how, like, if he was gonna lose, I liked how it took a lot to put him away. Like
Yeah.
so it's
True.
set up in that sense. I'm like, okay, like, but again, this is what I mean. Like when I kind of put it on, like I was like noting, I was like, Factory finally won. So they won. And then you would think they're like, oh, okay, they're the big dude, the big muscle man, Nick Camarado could get a win. And then like this is Factory's night or whatever, they could roll and set. And they're like, nope, they're gonna lose again. I'm like, okay, like whatever
Yeah,
steam
and
they
like,
had, it just extinguished that one pretty quickly. But I'm like, what are
and
you gonna do? It's just like, I
like,
don't know. Maybe they just did this throwaway match or whatever, and then they're gonna do it again, and then maybe have him go over in a regular singles match. Who
yeah,
knows? We're
what's
not writing
Dustin
for him, but
doing?
like, yeah,
Like, what's Dustin doing in this on this show on this program? Like, he just shows up randomly here and there. Like,
this
yeah, I don't really
whole
get it.
factor against the Nightmare Family thing, we were skeptical from the beginning, and now I feel like they'll get good matches out of it. This, like, by any means wasn't a bad match, but at the same time, I always think matches are better when you care about them. And then like as more and more you're getting these matches or
Mhm.
whatever, like that's why I was glad that QT gloated, because I'm like, okay, great, he finally won, and now we're seeing character from him. Like you got to elevate someone. I got that the Ogogo is the star, so but like his shtick was really not part of the group. His shtick was like, yeah, I'm from the UK and I don't like USA. That was his shtick. And then that makes no
Yeah,
sense with the Factory. So now I'm like, okay, what's the Factory going to do? And then I see Nick Camarado. I'm like, okay, he could be the big muscle guy. And then he loses. I'm like, all right.
he loses to Dustin. Like, yeah,
Does that
weird.
guy need a win? Like,
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. That's why, like, the end, I was like, okay,
yeah.
strange. I like the match. Weird choices. I don't know.
Yeah.
Every time, this is bad, but like every time Dustin wins, I'm like, is this like his last win?
Yeah,
Like, is he
that's
gonna?
he's good. Like he could still go in the ring. Like he could still do
Yeah,
it, but it's just like at this point, I'm like, what are we at? Like, what do we want? Like, do we not want another Dustin type of like match or whatever, or not? Like, because I think we're at this point now. Like, they're really trying to push these new guys. You got Jungle Boy super over. You got Anthony Ogogo, who they want them to be the next kind of like steel, like heel star, or whatever.
and
And
again, is like, is that's not selling tickets? That's not getting viewers. Like seeing Dustin Rhodes beat Nick Camarado. Like that's not like a money match. You know what I
he
mean? Like,
he also kept saying, he was like, I can't, like, I'm gonna bulldog you. I mean, he just kept saying that. Like, I can't wait to bulldog you. And I was just like, you mean that
you just grab his head and just drive it on the mat. I was like, yeah, like, okay. Like I get like you're trying to make something like a big deal, but I'm like saying it out loud. It makes it seem even like you're forcing it a little bit. Like,
Yes, bizarre.
yeah.
All right, that was the whole show.
Yeah.
So let's do rockets and anchors.
Curious to hear your rockets and anchors. Mine are gonna be, I guess, I think a little weird.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna lie, I did not mark mine out before, so now I'm trying to decide very quickly.
I'll give you. You want to know my anchor? I'll give you my anchor.
Yeah,
it was more of a like a aftermath like segment. It was just when Matt Hardy attacked Christian. None of it was bad. Like everything was fine, but it was my anchor because of what it's going to signify. I'm like, okay, great. We're going to get a Matt Hardy versus Christian match. You get two guys who I was kind of excited to see them elevate other guys. They don't necessarily need to put every single person over. They could win, but it's just making them better. Now we're going to get Matt Hardy versus Christian match, which I don't think anyone has asked for. And it kind of shows how old they are, to be honest. So like, oh, Matt Hardy's going against Christian Gage. I'm like, what am I watching here? This isn't like WrestleMania like 17. And I'm like, it's a different time. Like it just is.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my rocket to Christian actually in general because I just saw, I forgot to bring this up, that I really liked when Private Party was like mocking their tag team moves, and then like they got Christian to do it, and then Christian flipped it on them and then like turned it over. I think he looks so good. I'm like excited to see what he does, and it not wrestle Matt Hardy. I don't want
I'm excited to see what he does, except what they're planning on doing right now. And
I'm gonna say my anchor is probably, oh goodness, Dustin going over at the end. Yeah, that was so strange to me, and I kind of understand why, but I don't think it was a good choice. So I'm gonna go ahead and just say that was my anchor.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I guess it didn't bother me so much because I'm just like kind of over this already. I'm like, I kind of just want them to go their separate ways at this point, because like, what else are they really gonna do? It seems like they're gonna continue though, because QT finally beat Cody. Either Cody's gonna accept that or he's not. But I mean, he's also got his like show or whatever. So I'm like, I don't even know what's like going on. He might be taking an absence or whatever. We'll see. This Friday stuff is kind of like odd because I don't know.
I feel like they're
waiting.
Out.
Yeah, I think they're trying stuff out, and I think they know if they know something's big, they're like, we'll save that when we go back on Wednesdays.
And they're also saying like, okay, will people watch on Saturday?
Right.
Like I totally think that they're curious to test it out, which is smart. But
yeah, I think we're in that awkward in between phase. I think
it's like we're in the after SummerSlam era, like for the WWE, where it's like, okay, we don't really have anything going on before Survivor Series.
Let's put on these fillers. Let's see
watching.
Yes. Yeah. That's like what's funny about that though. I don't know.
Well, what's your rocket?
Yeah, I was about to say my rocket. Probably another weird one, not a specific match, even though I really like the first match. Probably the back-to-back Dark Order promo going into the Miro promo. I'm like, these Dark Order guys are hilarious, and Miro's being so intense. And it's like my anchor was like, oh, okay, but that's my anchor because I'm not excited for what's about to come up. This is my rocket because I'm very excited to come up. I think I'm actually genuinely excited for Evil Uno versus Miro, as random and weird as that sounds. I've been a big fan of Evil Uno and I didn't even know it. And now like he's going to have his big singles match against Miro, where Miro has been shooting on all cylinders. And I think it's going to be, I think it's gonna be fun to watch, to be honest. I think it's going to be an underrated match.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
All right. Rating overall, I'm going to give this pretty low. I'm going to say a 6. I just like, it kind of started slow, was meandering. I think it's right that they're trying stuff out. I don't think it was bad, but we're just in a strange
I just
place
didn't
right
care.
now.
Like, it sounds really mean when I say that. Like, I'm not trying to come from like a mean perspective. I just didn't care about a lot of things that was going on throughout the show. Like,
and there wasn't a lot of wrestling.
Yeah.
I feel like in general there was like way less actual wrestling than there usually is.
I felt like I was excited because like they had the first match and everything like that, and then they had the Mark Henry thing
and I really like Mark Henry a lot. Like, I'm not even mad that they like signed him. He's like a backstage guy or whatever. He could like anything, and like what he said, he could help out, which is great. But I felt like just starting from there, everything kind of felt flat. As in, like, hey, you're assigned to AEW. Why are you here? He's like, oh, okay, I want to help. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Andrade comes in with no music. I'm like, okay. And then
Yeah.
it
I
was just
mean, like,
like, okay.
I
And
don't
then
know.
just more things kind of fell flat in that sense. As in, like, okay, here's a match or whatever. Like, all right, here's Matt Hardy and Christian. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I just can't, like, that's the thing. I just felt like I was like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. It's just like, why am I like, why am I repeating this?
I know. And, I also think like commentary was a little bit weird. I think it was good for a lot of the matches and generally, but like, feels like everybody in the crowd was a little weird. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just different Friday.
Well, maybe they were a little bit like hungover from like kind of like the whole double or nothing like type thing. I
Yeah.
think that was such a good feel good like pay-per-view show, as in like they're going off the rocker on it, and then they just woke up tired, like, oh, okay.
Well, and
I
not
gotta
only
gear up for
that,
another one again. It's just like
not only that, but like you're on a weird night. You're
Yeah.
like, less people are gonna watch. The network isn't prioritizing you. It just feels different, I think.
Yeah,
So
that's how I felt. It felt weird and different. Honestly, I'll give it 6.5 just because it did start off strong. I will say that match was very fun and it made sense. It shot it down a lot with the whole Matt Hardy and Christian thing. That just bugs me. I'm a big Andrade fan. I think he's going to do well. So I'm giving it a 6.5 of more hopefulness of like, I think these will shoot off. If it turns out terrible, I'll rewind and be like, remember I gave that show 6.5? No, 4.5 tops.
All right.
There we go.
We'll put a pin in it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for sticking with us.
Yes.
Like and subscribe.
Please do.
Comment, let us know what's up. And yeah, Sharby will be back soon. So we'll have the whole gang back together.
Stay tuned. Click that orange box.
Stay tuned. Appreciate y'all listening to us in this very weird Dynamite time.
Yes.
Peace.
Take it easy.